They can be seated in the lap as long as they stay in one lap and one lap only. It does get pretty bouncy out on these roads. Now once the group in front of us has gotten on their way, we'll be heading down to our first stop, which is going to be down in the Little Aturi Forest. It's going to be the most densely forested area of the reserve, where we can commonly find some of the shyest residents. A lot of the animals down in the forest do have great methods of natural camouflage to help them blend in with our surroundings. So by keeping our eyes peeled and seeing who we can find. We have gotten that all clear, so we are good to go. We can get this show on the road. See us hanging out down in the forest this afternoon. We do have an okapi over on our right hand side, just across the river from us. We're hanging out under that tree right there. The okapi does look a bit like a zebra since they've got their nice striped pants on, but they're actually one of the closest relatives of the giraffe, but not the zebra. The okapi have those black and white stripes on their fur to help them blend in with the sunlight and the shadows that you'll find in the rainforests of Africa where they make their homes. The okapi on our right side might look a little bit small for anybody who has seen them before. That is a juvenile over there. That one's about 10 months old, so we've got a good bit of growing to do to catch up to the size of their parents. Makes it even harder to see them over there too. Also on our right hand side, hiding in the bushes up there, I did see a greater kudu, the tan antelope with the white stripes and no horns. We know that those are female kudu up there because only the males have horns. Females are also a little bit more social than the males, commonly found in groups of under or around 10. Males are mostly solitary, or found in very small, very loose bachelor groups. We've also got some bongo on the right hand side. The copper-colored antelope up there with the very long horns are laying behind some of the bushes. Bongo are one of the shortest and heaviest types of forest antelope. They can weigh in at about 900 pounds. They're kind of short and stout. It helps them to hide in the underbrush and not be seen by any predators who might be in the area. And out on our left, they're very hard to see, but there is a black rhino laying on the hill right there. They're laying in the divot of those rocks. Should have better luck out of the savannah. A little bit later looking for white rhinos. They're a little bit larger and more social. Black rhinos are pretty solitary and also a little bit smaller, about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. Not small, but smaller by comparison. There's also two black and white birds on our left. Those are the saddle-built storks. They do get their name from the yellow shape on the top of their bill. It kind of looks like the seat of a saddle. They can reach heights of around 5 feet tall thanks to very long spindly legs. And they use those legs to wade into shallow water where they will fish for their dinner. Now speaking of the water, we're heading to the Safi River Valley for our next stop. A lot of the animals down in the valley do like to hang out in and around the water, but Safi does being clear. So we're keeping a close eye out. It might be below the surface as we head on down. We do have some pink-backed pelicans over on our right-hand side, those very large gray and white birds with a big pouch below their bills. They actually use that pouch like a net. So they'll scoop fish up in that pouch, squeeze the water out, and then swallow those fish whole. It's a great mental image for you. Pink-backed pelicans are also the smallest of all the pelicans. They still have a wingspan of about 9 feet wide. 9 feet is also the width of the canopy of the truck above your heads. Pelicans are incredibly large seabirds. They prefer flying very long distances over open water, so that big wingspan is going to be a huge help with that. They can just glide a lot of times. One of my favorite birds. A lot more elegant than I think people give them credit for. Just got that silly look on their faces all the time. Now I see lots of ripples in the water on our left. There's definitely somebody down there, probably some Nile hippos. Just make sure I stay fully seated at all times, my friends. fully seated at all times on our safari today, no matter whether we are stopped or in motion. We've also got some Nile crocodiles over on the left-hand side. I see one out of the water right now. Nile crocodiles are the largest crocodilian you'll find in Africa, and also one of the largest in the world. They have a size of around 16 feet long. They weigh about 500 pounds. They go along the valley. You also have an incredibly strong bite force. Sometimes the upper jaw allows them to bite the bones of their prey. Now, I did not lay eyes on a hippo back there, but I'm sure that they were down there, probably directly below us. They can be very hard to see during the day. They're one of the top 3 largest land animals. They weigh in at over 5,000 pounds. They're very aquatic. They're almost underwater pretty much all day to stay cool and to not get sunburned. They have very thick, very sensitive skin. They also walk along the bottom of the river, so hiding is very easy for them. Not that they really have a whole lot to hide from. They just want to hide from the sun more than anything else. They're too big to have a whole lot of anybody wanting to mess with them. Making our way down to the Savannah. We're looking for a lot of what are known as migratory species down here. So animals who spend almost all their time on the move between sources of food and water. And resources on the savannas of Africa can get pretty scarce, especially during times of drought when rain might not fall for weeks or months at a time. So some of the world's largest land migrations also take place on the African savanna. So we'll keep a close eye on where everyone is spending their afternoon hours as we make our way around. There is a little bit of stop and go traffic that we are seeing all the way across the reserve right now on the other side of the savannah that might influence our speed if things continue in that direction. Just some animals crossing the road, but sometimes they linger a little bit. Just a little bit of a forewarning in case we slow down a little bit, and that's just why. Now, before we jump too far ahead of ourselves, there are some African painted dogs on our left-hand side. They're hanging out in the den over there just snoozing away. African painted dogs are a social species of wild dog who have not been domesticated. You'll find them in groups of somewhere around 5 to 15 individuals on average. They're very social animals. They're also one of the most successful hunters in Africa, beating out cheetahs and lions. They'll hunt as a pack and chase their prey until they drop from exhaustion. Make sure you're staying fully seated at all times, my friends. Also got 2 animals coming up on our left-hand side. We've got some Hartman's mountain zebra back there, making their way towards the tree line, and also some sable antelope to their right. Starting out with the sables, they're one of the few species of antelope who will see defending themselves against predators rather than fleeing. They like to use those very large rear-facing horns to deter predators from jumping on their backs and surprising them. They're also the emblem for the reserve you're on right now, so they're kind of like a celebrity around here. Also got those Hartman's mountain zebras. They're one of the 3 different types of zebras you'll find in Africa. They're also the only ones who will make their homes at higher altitudes than the others, hence that mountain in their names. They've got a couple different adaptations to make life up there a little bit easier, including things like a larger heart to help keep their blood pressure and circulation up, and also smaller hoofs to make climbing easier. So they're very well adapted for life at those higher altitudes. There is at least one more zebra up ahead of us on our left-hand side. I see them hanging out behind that termite mound up ahead. We've actually got mom and a foal coming up on our left-hand side. at these zebras up ahead of us since we're able to move up a little bit more in a minute. But that is the fall over to the right hand side. Starting to stack on a little bit of grass over there in the shade. Something pretty cool about zebra foals, the fact that when they are born, they're up and walking and running within about 30 minutes of being born. So you're immediately very, very mobile and also very fast. They can keep up with mom and the rest of their herd for safety reasons. That's their imprint on their mom's exact stripe pattern. Every zebra or any spotted or striped animal has a unique pattern to these stripes or spots of their fur, like we have our own fingerprint. So baby zebras imprint on their mom's stripe patterns, so always know who mom is, no matter how big their herd might be. They always know exactly who to run to when they are startled or need some kind of protection or support, which is really cool. Really cool. Mix cute and cool together, apparently. They get older, so they're immediately going to be able to cover a lot of ground really fast. It's really impressive. We also do have a giraffe coming up on what will be our left-hand side as we make our way around this loop. They snuck their way around the turn and are hanging out in the shade where that next truck is. There are 4 different species of giraffe you'll find in Africa. These are mostly just regional species, just where they live is whatever they will be named after, or potentially something about their coloring, although all giraffes do have that broken up pattern that we are seeing right now. We know that these are Maasai giraffe that we have on the reserve. They're the only ones that have the very rough, kind of jagged look to the brown patches on their fur and the white that separates those patches. You can see it in the one on our left-hand side. Now, giraffes are the tallest land animals. They can be as short, in quotation marks, as 13 feet tall, or as tall as 18 feet, so pretty wide variance in their height. They're perfectly made to eat from the highest trees and the highest branches, which they do all day. Giraffes are big snackers, eating almost constantly. They're nicknamed the tree trimmers or the pruners because of their snacking. They're kind of like a safeguard for their own food. When they eat those trees, they're pruning to encourage that new growth. It's pretty cool. Kind of like they're maintaining their own food source just by snacking, which is pretty great. Coming up on our right-hand side, we're also going to have this very large beige antelope with the horns that go straight back. That is an eland over there. Eland are one of the world's largest species of antelope. They can reach heights of around 6 feet tall at the shoulder, weigh at over 2,000 pounds, and jump about 8 feet up in the air from a standstill. So they've got springs hidden somewhere in their legs to have that kind of lift. I don't know how they do it. We've also got wildebeest on our right-hand side. There's one laying on the hill right here, and then there's a couple laying in the shade of the brush. Over here, they've got a nice little napping spot figured out. Wildebeest are a part of one of the world's largest land migrations. They can migrate in herds of up to 1.5 million. That does make them one of the most densely populated animals on this planet behind us as humans. Got a couple more giraffes on our left-hand side. Now we're going to get ready to head off the Savannah photo intermission. We're going to be making our way over into elephant country. And I'll give you one guess, and one guess only, what kind of animal we might be trying to find over in elephant country. It really is anybody's guess. Got a very large African elephant directly on our right-hand side. Now, African elephants are the largest land animal. We'll find them living right under the matriarchal family groups. Just means that mom or grandma is in charge of the entire family, not unlike with people. Also got a mandrill on our left-hand side. They're sitting on the rocks right in the middle. They have their back turned to us. You can just see their ears and their silhouette over there. But that is the world's largest monkey over there. The males weigh in at about 100 pounds. They're really, really stocky. They're really vibrant blue and reds on their faces, and also a small little stub tail. Helps them balance when they are up in the trees. They also are on the ground foraging a lot. The females are much smaller. They're about 30 to 40 pounds. So they are about a third of their size. Mandrills are a really, really unique monkey. They're one of my favorite animals to see on the reserve. They're just super shy. They're very good at hiding up in the trees and just going unnoticed. But they're a lot closer to us than you might think. Of course, they are a primate, which already means they're pretty close to begin with. But the fact is that they're actually one of the few animals, besides people, who bare their teeth as a sign of smiling and greeting friends and family, rather than most animals who bare their teeth as a sign of unease or discomfort. So mandrills and humans both smile. Is one of the coolest things about them, in my opinion. Now we're looking for more elephants up ahead at the next watering hole. Our friend back there was probably a male since they were flying solo today. The males branch off from their family groups, usually in their teenage years, to form loose bachelor herds or just hang out alone a lot of times. Females stay in their family groups their entire lives, so keep that in mind as we keep on going. You might spot a family group up ahead at the next watering hole. A family group. What a perfect spot for mom and baby to be hanging out. Staying nice and cool in the shade.
Oh, look how tiny it is.
She's got the right idea.
She's finding us out.
There'll be a couple more elephants up ahead too. We've got a pretty decently sized family group, just kind of all scattered around. Mom and baby always like to hang out in that spot in the shade at some point in the afternoon. The rest of the family usually sits close to the mud wallows over here, also to the water. Now, if you do want to help out some animals like some African elephants, animals like the Kilimanjaro Safari, animals like the okapi and the bongo, also other animals like the mandrills and animals like the gorillas and the colobus monkeys you can see over on the Gorilla Falls Trail. You do it to recycling your electronics. So things like our phones, our computers, our smartwatches, they all contain coltan. It's a very common, widely used mineral in electronics. It's mined from the rainforest of Africa called the Congo, where you find animals like the ones that I've mentioned above or before. So helping out to protect these animals and their homes just by recycling our coltan cuts down on the mining needed to acquire more coltan, helps to save and preserve their homes and their territories that continue to exist in the wild for generations to come. Also helps out with the people who live in the Congo as well. So it really protects that whole area and just stops that deforestation and the pollution that the mining causes. The cause is very close to my heart. You help out some very beautiful animals in the process, and also the home of a lot of biodiversity. There's a lot of unique plants and animals called the Congo their home. In fact, a lot of plants and animals you'll find in the Congo, those rainforests, are called endemic to the region. It means it's their only home on the entire planet. It's just those rainforests. So animals like the okapi or gorillas or mandrills are only found in those rainforests. Also the bongo as well. So lots of really important, really beautiful animals here to protect. You do it just recycling your electronics, which save you some money too if you trade in your phone for credit towards the new one that's recycling. Which means that old one can be reused and upcycled. We also have an island full of greater flamingos over on our left-hand side. They are the largest and lightest pink species of flamingo. They get their pink color from something called beta carotene that can be found in things like krill and brine shrimp that make up a lot of their diet. Now for the kind of grayish brown flamingos out there, those are the juveniles. They are born with gray feathers. It takes around 2 years to reach their full pink coloration. It's a very slow process. mud wallow on our left-hand side. It's a good indicator there might be some rhinos around here. Elephants and rhinos both have really thick but very sensitive skins over that mud. It's going to be kind of like an all-in-one skincare routine. It's a sunscreen, it's a bug repellent. It keeps them cool, but it also keeps their skin from drying out. It really is an all-in-one, all-natural skincare routine. We'll keep our eyes open for any rhinos as we make our way around. Also looking for anybody coming up on our left-hand side who might be a little bit harder to spot. This animal is really, really good at blending in and camouflage, and it's a huge part of our hunting process. It can be pretty difficult to see, especially at the peak sun hour with all this dappled sunlight. I'm not seeing anybody on this first hill, but we're going to creep up a little farther and take a look at the second hill in just a moment and see if there might be anybody over there. We do have some cheetahs on our left-hand side. They're very hard to see. They're laying almost over near where I am right now, just across from me. But cheetahs are the fastest land animal. They can reach speeds between 60 and 70 miles per hour. They're more like a sprinter than a marathon runner, though, because they can only maintain that speed about a quarter mile. It does make stalking their prey a very important part of their hunting process. But they've got that shelf wiper and all those black spots. Great natural camouflage. They just disappear in any kind of tall grasses on the savannas. We've also got a kofi coming up on our left. It's what we call a hill or a rock formation. They make great lookout posts for animals who like a bird's eye view of what's going on around them on the savannas. So we'll keep an eye for anybody who might be up there as we circle our way around. So they just get a glimpse of some white rhinos. They're kind of far away right now, but they'll be on our right-hand side. We're going to circle around and see from the opposite perspective in just a moment, but also more farther off to the right. Now, white rhinos are the largest and most social of the 5 species of rhino. They mature to weigh somewhere around 5,000 pounds, and they do make their homes on the savannas with their families. One is not a very wide, squared-off jaw to help them graze from all the grasses that grow out here. Kind of like gigantic 5,000-pound lawnmowers. Now we're going to have some burrows on our left-hand side. It looks like prime real estate for some warthogs. We'll keep an eye out for any who might be hanging around. There they are, laying down, sleeping over there with some big hairy rocks. Now, warthogs are one of Africa's largest burrowing animals. They can dig their own burrows with the help of their tusks and their really wide snouts. They can also reuse burrows made by other animals. It's a great example of recycling and also working smarter and not harder in the animal kingdom. I also did just notice there is an ostrich in the road in front of that truck ahead of us right now. So we're going to hang tight here for just a minute and see if that ostrich is going to get back on their way and walk back out of the road. They're up around the turn.
Holding an ostrich eggs for an ostrich over by the cattle barn.
Just make sure you stay seated while we're stopped, my friends. There's something, not a whole lot else to see. I'll creep up a little bit farther to get a little bit better look at the rhinos. dropping food on each other.
You don't look real, do they? We're not allowed to get attacked by one of them. Why is it different colours, Joe?
You may be able to see with all of them lined up right here that they all do have a kind of unique shape to their horns. They've all got, of course, 2 horns, a smaller one in the back, the bigger one in the front. Their primary and secondary horns, but they're all unique to them. They have a little bit of different shape to them. Because their horns are made of keratin, like our fingernails, they actually file their horns down to get the desired shape that they want. So they'll kind of basically manicure them to their preference for size and shape. Otherwise it'll just be a big cylinder and not the cone that we see. Now, keratin is what our hair and fingernails are made from. It's what their horns are made from. Their horns are just a very densely woven form of keratin, so it is a little bit stronger than our fingernails, just because it's thicker, but it's not a unique material. It only has value to those rhinos who need their horns, and not to anybody else. Glad we got that extended look at our friends over there. That ostrich has moved out of the road. They're on our left-hand side now. They are one of the world's, they are the world's largest bird. A little bit too big to fly. They're actually the fastest animal on 2 legs. They have a top speed of over 40 miles an hour. It's pretty impressive. It's also way faster than I'll ever be. That startled me. I think they just saw the legs. My goodness. I don't know if they looked to the left and just realized that the warthogs were there and got startled, or what happened, but I jumped, the ostrich jumped, we'll jump together. Alright, on that note, we're going to make our way, and it's going to be our last stop for our safari today. We're heading down into the Gotti Glen. We're going to switch by the Warden's Post and say hello to some conservation superheroes down here. This being animal is very adorable, very entertaining, and also very important to conservation efforts all across Africa. I see a couple of them on the front porch right now, keeping a very close eye on things for us. We're also in the back of the Jeep. These are the Nigerian dwarf goats. They're a small domesticated species of goat who are commonly kept as pets and as livestock. Not only are they very adorable and very entertaining, but they're also very important. Their milk is sold for a very high profit, as it says it tastes very sweet. The sale of that milk helps stimulate the economy in rural villages in Africa. It also helps to encourage those villagers to keep their business focused on domesticated animals rather than wild animals. And that is why the little conservation superheroes. Well, that was the last stop for our safari today, which just means it's time to head back to the village to continue your adventure here today. There's still plenty more animals to see around the rest of the park. You can go check out the Gorilla Falls Trail by our exit, or the Maharaj Jungle Trek over in Asia. These are both self-guided walking trails that are fully accessible for strollers and wheelchairs. You can spend as long as you want on these trails admiring the animals and also learning about them with the help of my friends in green and the wilderness explorers you'll meet along your journey. Our 5 new wilderness explorers on board is running their safari badge. You put on the Simba one. That is the name of this truck and also your code word to get your badge on your way back to the village. I would encourage you to find your favorite animal around the park and then as much as you can above the where you're visiting us today. When it comes to wildlife conservation, knowledge really is power. The more we know about these animals, the more we care, and the more we care, the more we want to protect them, which is the ultimate goal. So if you know of any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Back up to the dock up ahead. My window's always open. I do want to say asante san as well. Just mean thank you. Thank you for your patience out there. I know things moved a little bit slowly. I really appreciate you sticking with me. I got to see some pretty cool animals to get some good views of them during our time on the reserve though. You dropped off on your way in just a moment too. This is where we're getting ready to say goodbye. We don't say goodbye here in Harambe. Instead, we say kwaherini, which means goodbye or to go well in Swahili. That's who we're dropping you off here. It's going to be kwaherini, everyone. As Nabe Sanoji, thank you for joining me today. It was a pleasure to have you on board. Thanks again for your patience. I really do appreciate